In this video, let's discuss how India is planning to move towards the winning in 21st century. Let's look into multiple factors how India is looking to reach its goal. When we are talking about India, we cannot forget the factor population. In 2023, India surpassed China as the world's most populated country with an estimated population of 1.42 billion compared to that of China 1.41 billion. But how does that benefit India having more population? You see, more population always increase the demand for goods and services and also increase the demand for workforce, and in return country gets the tax. The average median of population in India is 28 when compared to China, which is 38. This shows that India has a younger population than compared to China, which is 38. Moreover, having more population always increases the demand for resources, cultural diversity, economic growth, and the most important thing is workforce. India is a cheap labor that attracts the global investors. Now let's jump into the new topic, foreign investors. Foreign investors always look for a reliable and stable economic growth. Before we get into this topic, let me ask you a question. If you're an investor, would you invest in a country with a stable economic growth or a country that has a geopolitical tensions? I hope your answer is a country which has a good economic growth. So, this is where India is aiming for. India showed its rigid economic growth even at the time of COVID-19. While other countries are struggling with COVID-19, India took the time to its advantage and started exporting more goods to the other nations. In fact, post-pandemic helped Indian export industry. India exported goods a total worth of 468 billion in 2022 when compared to 400 billion in 2021. If you look at 2023 alone, India exported goods total worth of 778 billion, which is almost double the exports of 2022. But have you ever thought how did India manage to do it? The credit goes to people of India and the government. Even at the time of pandemic, India came forward to make this happen. This shows us how rigid the Indian economy is. While other governments are trying to battle the pre and post pandemic, the government of India played a very crucial role to place India on top of the table. With that said, stable government is one of the few things that attracts the global investors. Now to the new topic, cultural adaptability. After independence in 1947, when India was slowly developing, both China and Pakistan waged war with India. Due to back-to-back wars with the neighboring countries, crippled the entire Indian economy. But India never gave up. It adapted to new world and opened its gates to the global exports and imports to the other nations. In the early 1990s, India is the widely spoken language and it played a very crucial role in the global exports and imports. Although English is the spoken language of British, a colonizer of India, India never gave up that language after it got independence from British. In fact, India adapted to that language. India realized the importance of English language and its importance in connecting the outside world. Now, India sits at the second position in countries speaking English by population. If you look at the statistics, now a lot of students are getting opportunities to study in foreign countries and investors face very less communication issues because of the English language. If you look at China, all the documents or the manuals are typed in Chinese language, which is difficult to the investors to understand. There has to be a middleman who needs to translate the documents to English. With that keeping in mind, if you look at the manuals or documents of India, they are all written in English. Nowadays, English has become more of a common language in India than that of Hindi. If you put everything together, India didn't just adapt to the English language but also opened gates to the Western culture. So this shows the Indian adaptability to the outside world. Now to the interesting topic, Indian diaspora. If you look at large MNC companies like Google, Microsoft, Adobe, you see a lot of Indian origin CEOs. And moreover, there has been two latest reports that shows us that most of the Indian IT employees got 70% of H1B visas, and the other report shows that Indian Americans earn more income compared to other ethnicities. This shows us that Indian capability in the other nations as well. Now this raises to an important question. How does the Indian origin CEOs or the Indian employees working in different countries benefit India? Like, they don't pay tax to the country, right? So if you look at the bigger picture, it's not about the money, it's all about Indian diaspora. Becoming CEO is not a small task. It requires a lot of knowledge. This knowledge can be gained from the experience or the education system. Let's just focus on the education system now. Without a proper education system in India, you cannot see Indian origin CEOs in the MNC companies. And moreover, because of this education system, lot of Indian students are getting opportunities to study abroad and get jobs there. This shows how good our education system is in India. I do agree to the fact that they don't pay tax directly to India, but if you look at the latest reports, it shows us that they cover up to billions of dollars of remittance sending to India to support their loved ones, which makes the money to rotate in India. This also includes the amount of money they pay for the education loans as well. If you put everything together in one picture, Indian origin CEOs or employees working for different MNC companies, they shows the Indian diaspora to the other nations. On top of that, people working abroad expose the Indian ability to the world. This brings lot of investors to the country and develop India. If you want to develop a country, you need to have a good logistics. This brings us to the new topic, Indian logistics. 90% of India's total trade with the world takes place through sea routes. India has 13 major ports that can accommodate both imports and exports. Recently, India passed a bill to develop and construct new ports to accommodate larger cargoes along the coastal line. This shows how serious India is working towards its goal. When we talk about the logistics, we can't just focus on just the ports. Let's discuss the Indian railways and the roadways. Over the past decade, India has invested some billions of dollars on Indian logistics. Approximately 50,000 kilometers of highway are constructed to speed up the transportation. This goes to the Indian railways as well, introducing Vande Bharat trains to cut down the travel duration and developing new railways to increase the speed of trains and to cut down the travel transportation. This brings us to the last topic, India is not China. Unlike China, India is not aggressive to the neighboring countries, and the most important thing is, India is not a communist country. After COVID-19, when the whole world is looking for China plus one, lot of countries showed their potential to be China plus one. But on the other hand, India showed its potential with its stable economy to the world. The constant rise of GDP, increase in exports, actively participating in global talks, welcoming new investors, cheap labor, higher literacy rate, and the main thing is India is actively increasing their technology. If you put all the factors together, it shows how India is working towards winning the 21st century. Although there might be other factors that involves in this process, but I just focused on these factors that shows very high importance towards India winning. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.